They thought I was insane when I told them I'd drained their million-dollar lake. "You can't touch us," the HOA president sneered, standing beside her white Tesla next to her $1.8 million lakefront property. "We've got lawyers, money, and power." 3 months later, I'm staring at her precious resort sitting in a muddy pit while expensive boats lay sideways like broken toys in what used to be crystal clear water. My boots crunch on the dried lake bed where luxury yachts once floated. She thought she could steamroll a retired military engineer, thought she could destroy the hand-built stone bridge my grandfather constructed during the Great Depression. The same bridge where 3 generations of my family got engaged, including me to my late wife Sarah. What this corporate shark from Connecticut never researched was simple. I didn't just inherit a cabin by her lake, I inherited the dam that created it. My name is Garrett Donovan. I'm 52 years old with calloused hands from honest work. After 20 years in the Army Corps of Engineers building bridges in Iraq and Afghanistan, then another decade in construction, I thought I'd earned some peace. When my grandfather died in 2019, he left me his sanctuary, a 1940s fishing cabin on 200 feet of pristine Lake Thornfield shoreline, complete with a hand-built stone bridge connecting our cabin to the fishing dock. That bridge witnessed my father proposing to my mother in 1967 and my own nervous proposal to Sarah in 1998. After Sarah's 3-year battle with cancer ended last year, that bridge became my daily pilgrimage, the only place I could still feel 3 generations of love. Lake Thornfield tells upstate New York's story. 400 acres of natural beauty host weathered family cabins built by working-class hands in the 50s, now neighbors to gleaming McMansions after tech money discovered our hidden paradise. The old-timers understood lake etiquette. Walt Henderson, a Vietnam vet, fixes everyone's boat engines for free. Eleanor Murphy shares vegetables from her garden. We fish together, share tools, and mind our own business. Then 2019 brought the Thornfield Estates development. And with it came Vivian Blackwood, 45, recently divorced from hedge fund millions, armed with a real estate law degree and entitlement that could choke a horse. Her $2.3 million glass palace loomed over us like a corporate Death Star. Our first encounter happened at Murphy's Country Store. She complained about aesthetic inconsistencies while her white Tesla sat outside. When she spotted my Carhartt jacket and steel-toed boots, her smile turned plastic. "You must be one of our charming local residents," she purred. 6 months later, Vivian's beautification campaign launched with military precision. Her hit list targeted Walt's 30-year-old boat, Eleanor's vegetable garden, and my grandfather's bridge, structurally questionable and aesthetically incompatible. The violation notice arrived like a court summons. I marched to her marble fortress with my grandfather's 1943 building permits and county surveys. "Mr. Donovan," she said with theatrical patience, "that rustic structure doesn't align with our elevated community vision. We're curating a luxury experience, not operating a fishing camp." I explained the bridge predated her HOA by 70 years, legally grandfathered and historically protected. Vivian's response was a smile sharp enough to gut fish. How delightfully naive. The community has voted, and democracy is beautiful when it serves progress. 30 days to comply, or we'll explore more creative options. Standing in her temple of imported superiority, I realized this woman just declared war on the wrong engineer. 3 days later, she called an emergency HOA meeting, 7 p.m. on a Tuesday when working folks couldn't attend. She'd packed the room with her cronies, 6 families who'd moved in recently, all driving cars worth more than my annual pension. On her coffee table sat a thick folder labeled Bridge Safety Assessment. She opened it like a prosecutor. "This professional evaluation confirms our worst fears about Mr. Donovan's bridge." I examined her so-called assessment from Blackwood Consulting Company, her brother-in-law's company. 3 pages of technical-sounding nonsense with grainy photos making my grandfather's solid stonework look unsafe. "This assessment is fraudulent," I said. Your brother-in-law never set foot on my property. This bridge has survived 70 years of upstate winters." Vivian's smile turned predatory. Personal attacks won't change facts. Community safety comes first. She gestured to her audience. "All in favor of requiring immediate bridge removal." 7 hands shot up. The vote was 7-3 with 30 days to demolition and $500 daily fines. But Vivian made her first crucial mistake. She underestimated a military engineer's research skills. While she celebrated, I spent the next week at the county courthouse digging through old filing cabinets. The breakthrough came in a 1943 county survey map. My grandfather's bridge sat squarely on a county easement, public right-of-way that predated any private development. The HOA had zero jurisdiction over county property. And even better, HOA bylaws exempted pre-existing structures with historical significance. My bridge qualified on both counts. Armed with this evidence, I returned to Vivian's next meeting with County Clerk Patricia Santos. "The bridge sits entirely within county easement boundaries," Patricia explained. "The HOA's removal vote exceeds their legal authority and is null and void." Vivian's face went through more color changes than a traffic light. "That's impossible. We did our research." "Your research was incomplete," Patricia replied. "County easements supersede all private covenants. This bridge stays exactly where it is." "You may have won this battle," Vivian said through gritted teeth, "but the war is far from over." Within a week, Vivian switched to guerrilla warfare, death by 1,000 paper cuts. My morning fishing routine became a noise violation. My fishing tackle was an unsightly storage issue. She hired a professional HOA enforcement company that cited me for grass height, dock maintenance, even my boat cover's color. Each violation carried $200 plus $50 daily escalation fees. But her most insidious weapon was her whisper campaign, spreading poison about my hostility to community improvement at every local business. That's when I realized I wasn't fighting alone. Walt found me on my dock one evening. "This reminds me of Saigon, bureaucrats making life hell for people doing honest work." Turns out Vivian had been systematically targeting every old-timer. Eleanor got cited for her garden, Murphy faced violations for his work truck, Walt's boat was deemed an eyesore. The surveillance discovery came by accident. I'd noticed the same gray Honda parked near my property at different times. When I confronted the driver, he admitted he was a private investigator hired by the HOA.
That night, I installed security cameras. 3 days later, my dock mysteriously developed damage overnight, metal support posts with clean saw marks. The camera caught a figure in white clothing at 2 a.m. Walt reviewed the footage. 30 years reading suspects, and that woman's guilty as sin, he confirmed. The trap was set. Vivian's desperation peaked when she filed a wellness check complaint about my erratic behavior, somehow obtaining my service records mentioning minor PTSD. When Deputy Santos arrived, with Vivian trailing behind, I calmly produced my organized documentation. Every violation, every harassment incident, every piece of sabotage evidence. "Ma'am," Deputy Santos said to Vivian, "filing false reports is a misdemeanor. Mr. Donovan has legitimate grievances. I suggest you reconsider your approach." 3 days later, Vivian's nuclear option arrived. $18,000 in accumulated fines with foreclosure threats. But while she played legal games, I'd been conducting research. A week of diving through county records revealed something she never saw coming. Lake Thornfield wasn't natural, it was artificial, created by a 1952 dam construction project. When that company went bankrupt in 1978, the dam ownership transferred, eventually selling to a private owner in 1981. The buyer? My grandfather's estate trust. I owned the dam. Not just access rights, complete legal ownership of the structure that created Vivian's precious lake. My water rights attorney confirmed it. "You hold superior water rights. The dam creates the lake. You own the dam. Therefore, you control the lake. State records showed Lake Thornfield was overdue for mandatory dewatering inspection, required every 25 years, last done in 1998. I could drain that lake for essential maintenance, and there wasn't a thing Vivian or her lawyers could do. But here's where it got interesting. Vivian's entire empire was leveraged against that lake remaining full. Her resort project was funded through high-interest loans requiring premier lakefront location status. Without water, property values would plummet 60–70%, triggering loan defaults. I didn't just hold the trump card, I held the nuclear option. The environmental compliance angle was pure gold. I could file paperwork, drain the lake for essential maintenance, and every environmental lawyer would defend my actions as responsible stewardship. Memorial Day weekend was 6 weeks away, exactly when Vivian scheduled her resort's grand opening. She'd pre-sold vacation packages worth $400,000. My attorney confirmed every legal avenue was secured. File these documents, and you'll have unstoppable momentum. No court would grant an injunction against required environmental compliance. The engineering solution was elegant. Lake Thornfield's dam included spillway controls, allowing selective drainage. I could lower water levels 8 to 12 feet, stranding Vivian's resort and the newest McMansions while maintaining water for upstream old-timer properties. Vivian had spent months trying to destroy something precious to me. Now I held power to destroy something precious to her, with environmental improvement and legal protection as bonuses. The paperwork was ready, the legal foundation was solid, time to drain her dreams. I assembled my team: Walt for security, Eleanor for community relations, Murphy the contractor for technical expertise, and Marcus Anderson, the county environmental inspector. The dam's spillway controls would let me target exactly where I wanted, surgical precision to destroy her investment while protecting my neighbors. Rebecca Sterling crafted a bulletproof legal strategy. Environmental assessment forms would create unstoppable bureaucratic momentum. Once those documents entered government machinery, no private party could halt the process. Eleanor's PR campaign positioned our drainage as responsible environmental stewardship, restoring natural seasonal levels to benefit fish spawning and reduce algae blooms. Murphy's official dam safety inspection provided perfect cover. His environmental agency mandate identified maintenance requirements justifying temporary drainage within 60 days. Memorial Day weekend timing was perfect for maximum impact on Vivian's resort opening. Somehow, Vivian caught wind of my courthouse visits, though she misread their significance. Her solution? Hire Rex Hardwick's crew for emergency dam maintenance to disable the spillway controls. At 2:30 a.m. on Thursday, Rex's crew arrived with cutting torches. What they didn't count on was Walt's military-grade surveillance. When we caught Rex red-handed, he cracked immediately. Vivian offered him $10,000 to prevent dam problems interfering with resort operations. By morning, I had criminal charges filed for conspiracy and attempted destruction of environmental infrastructure. But Vivian launched a preemptive media campaign, framing herself as victim of my unstable neighbor vendetta. She even approached me directly with a bribery attempt, $50,000 cash at Murphy's store. "Everyone has a price," she said confidently. "What's yours?" I activated my phone's recording. Some things aren't for sale, especially not to people who tried to destroy them first. Keep your dirty money. You'll need every penny for legal fees. Her last-ditch legal challenge came through an expensive Manhattan environmental law firm. The court hearing took place on a gray Tuesday. Judge Kellerman reviewed every document thoroughly. Vivian's lawyer argued the drainage would constitute environmental vandalism. The judge's response was swift. The defendant's documentation clearly establishes his legal authority. Furthermore, the state has mandated this maintenance. This court won't interfere with legally required environmental stewardship. Injunction denied. Maintenance proceeds as scheduled. Vivian was responsible for $40,000 in legal fees. Memorial Day weekend dawned with perfect weather. By 7:30 a.m., families were setting up, completely unaware they were about to witness environmental history and financial carnage. I arrived at the dam at precisely 8 a.m. with my team, legal observers, and 3 news crews. That's when Vivian arrived like a general leading her final charge. Her Tesla screeched in, followed by SUVs carrying investors and security guards. "You can't do this!" she screamed, her composure shattered. Deputy Santos stepped forward. "Ma'am, Mr. Donovan has full legal authority. State regulations require immediate compliance." Marcus held up his inspection order. "This operation is mandated by New York State. Any interference constitutes obstruction." The crowd held its breath as I placed my hand on the spillway control wheel. 150 neighbors and investors watched as I turned it. Water levels dropped 2 feet the first hour, exposing hidden shoreline. Vivian's boat dock began showing pilings as watercraft listed awkwardly. By noon, the lake dropped 6 feet, completely stranding Vivian's resort while maintaining water for upstream old-timer properties. When the reporter asked for my statement, I delivered my practiced line. "This isn't about victory over any individual. It's about responsible stewardship of the environment my grandfather helped create." The community reaction was immediate. Old-timers felt vindicated. Property values actually increased thanks to improved water quality. Vivian's collapse was total. The resort project went bankrupt within weeks. She sold her mansion at 50 cents on the dollar and fled back to Connecticut with a criminal conviction. 6 months later, I'm sitting on my grandfather's restored bridge, watching the most spectacular sunrise Lake Thornfield has seen in decades. The water sparkles with clarity, teeming with fish populations increased 40%. My grandnephew proposed to his girlfriend on this bridge last month, continuing our family tradition. Every neighborhood has a Vivian, someone who mistakes control for leadership and intimidation for authority. But every community has tools to hold tyrants accountable if you know where to look. Knowledge is power, and power belongs to people willing to use it for something bigger than themselves.